Hey everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a stable that I've built for the castle. It is 17 blocks long and 7 blocks wide, comprised of mostly stone bricks, wood, and fences. I've already laid out the foundation in our similar fashion of cobblestone for any potential pathing that we want to put next to the structure. It's going to be relatively open-ended. It's not something that I wanted to close off. I wanted it to be open from the very beginning, and so I went into a single-player creative world and designed it that way. But we're using smooth stone blocks for the foundation, very similar to the main castle building. The back end, which is where the horses are going to be at, is going to be normal in the way that we've built so far, which is 5 blocks tall with stone brick, and it's going to span the length of said structure all the way across. Now that we've built the initial structure, we're going to zoom out so you guys can get a different view of what we're looking at. I've sped it up just a little bit so that you guys don't have to watch me plonk it all down and kind of go around with the spacing. Here we're filling in the back wall. I'm putting the windows one taller than I normally would, so that the horse's tether will not conflict. Here I'm placing fences inside of those windows. And now I'm removing the corners of the back wall to facilitate our log blocks. Here I'm putting fences on the other end of the structure. Now I'm placing the logs. Now these logs can be varied however you would like. I wanted them to look a little bit less weathered than they might have, and so I went ahead and put them on symmetrical points on either end. Now we're just making our typical peaked roof. This one will actually have an eave as opposed to any other structure that we make on this particular property unless we make another stables or similar building. We've already kind of lined out the stalls. You can see that there's room for 4 horses. However, this particular design can be scaled up to support any number of horses that you want in a line. However, I personally believe that this design looks at its best when you limit it down to about 4 horses, maybe 5. Now we're placing more fences along the stall areas, and we're putting a log at the top of those to mimic the rest of the structure. And then we're placing cobblestone between those, and now we're working on the actual roof with stairs. As I do with all of my structures, I put in a log, quote, support beam at the top. This makes it easier to place stairs at the very top of the structure, and it also looks a little bit better from the inside. We do the same on the other end. And that is the wooden portion of the roof finished. Now we're looking at the interior of the design, and we're looking at several pieces of it all. Here I'm trying to determine where I'm wanting to place the rest of the structure, or rather, most of the other details. We'll finish out the interior of the roof as well, and we'll place our fences down for the stalls. These stalls are big enough to facilitate a horse or 4, and then they also don't allow the horses to kind of meander into the other stalls, which can potentially be a burden should you have multiple horses and you choose not to end or cap off the end of the stalls with fences like I don't here. Like I said before, I'm filling in the rest of the interior roof so that it looks a little bit better once you're inside of the structure. The way that shaders work, this makes it so that both water doesn't kind of splash through the roof tiles like they do sometimes, and it also makes sure that the sun doesn't have any weird artifacts poking through the corners. Now we're going to light the interior. And then we're going to place down the actual horse or donkey tethers on the inside of it all. We'll need logs and fences, and this is why we put the windows just a little bit taller than I normally would. Now you can place a fence at the very base of that where the log goes, but I figured it looked just a little bit better if it's on top of the log. Now we're going to finish out the roof with cobblestone variants. Like I said before, the roof will have eaves, which means that it will have eaves on all sides of it. Using cobblestone here instead of more wood will give the build a little bit of variance in how it looks on either end, and it makes it look not so homogeneous or all one-sided. Whenever you look at a build, the way that I kind of go about doing that is making sure that when you look at it, it doesn't all look the same. Here we have the stable completed fully. Momentarily, you guys will be watching some general gameplay / tour of my actual castle as it stands right now. As you can see for the stable itself, I've added just a few different variations to the exterior of it. I've added some minor details and whatnot. But as always, I'll catch you guys next time, and I hope to see you on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/gunner113. We're sitting here by the fire. It's all cozy. It's raining outside. And we're all nice and toasty inside. I was going to work on a farm, or rather expanding the farm to allow for, I think, probably a pig pen at some point. It's going to require a little bit of planning, just a few materials and resources. But I think I'm going to wait out for the storm, primarily because I don't want to have to deal with potential monsters spawning on top of me and just kind of ruining my day. Currently, the wall itself is actually coming along quite nicely. Let me actually make our way over to the mage quarters, and I can show you exactly how the wall is coming along. There's got to be a mage tower, right? So, there's the beginning of the first tower. I do intend on planning around and making sure that this wall is not just a single height. I do want it to be variable. So for instance, over on that end, it's going to be a little bit shorter than the rest, about by 3 blocks. The towers are also going to be kind of varying heights. They're not all going to be the exact same, especially since I don't intend on trying to make them even. But there's quite a few sections that I've planned out. I've planned out the general shape. I've planned out the general idea of where I want things to go and how I want things to look. Some of the stuff that I had ideas for just isn't going to cut it. For instance, I wanted a canal that goes all the way across into the castle bit there, but I think I'm going to go ahead and refrain from doing that and instead do something a little bit different. I have started the initial beginnings of the anterior gate walls, which is, there's going to be 3 of them total, which means 4-ish gates. There's going to be, well, 5 technically. There's going to be the one over there. There's going to be this one. There's going to be another one somewhere around, maybe attached to the actual mage hall. Somewhere around here, perhaps. Maybe directly going across it. And then there's going to be another one probably attached to that very same gatehouse that goes all the way across. That way you have to, because there's going to be an entrance right around here. And so we're going to kind of make it a little bit more fortified. The idea is to make it so that the walls are going to be there to protect various different assets. And so, you know, the main gate, which is where most of the visitors are going to come in through, is over there. You can kind of see the archway right there, or the outline of one. That's going to be where most of the visitors come in. That's the main entrance. You come through here, there's a few different residential houses, and then some storage areas. There is a small gate that goes underneath there into the next section, which is why we're going to have a third interior gate wall. But as you go along, you're going to be met with that one, which is attached to the primary war hall, which is there. That's where all the map and geography stuff is going to go pertaining to this particular castle. And then there's going to be several others, primarily probably just 2 more. But the goal is pretty simple. We're going to have a farm out there. I want to try and make a second windmill, but I don't know where I'm going to put it. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I might put it up there. I'm not sure yet. But the castle's coming along quite nicely. I'm pretty excited about it. I was going to showcase some general gameplay for the last portion of this video, but I think we'll just go along a little tour and show you guys some of what I've been working on. So we're going to go ahead and cut to the very beginning of the castle journey, and then we'll get to show you the main points of interest, and then we'll be able to move on from there. We're outside. It's freshly morning. You can see that it has finally stopped raining. We're going to go ahead and cover all the main points of interest, and we'll be able to move on to kind of giving a tour of the general area. So, first and foremost, the main entrance to the castle is on this drawbridge. You can't actually get into the castle or even onto the same level as the castle unless you go through that drawbridge. Eventually, I might actually add in some fences here to simulate what like the gate and whatnot, but maybe not. We have one primary entrance, which is the main hall. This main hall is not finished. Unfortunately, it's basically just a shell at this point. It doesn't really have any of the furnishings that I would like to put in there whatsoever. But we will go through it for the most part. Most of the other rooms are pretty finished. So this is the kitchen, or the food storage. It has some of the smokers in here. These are where I usually cook the food and whatnot. And then it's also where I store all of the primary foods, such as the processed foods, or rather the main foods like the uncooked and the cooked. And then this is just an extra chest for any additional stuff from there to spill over into. This is the seed bin. This is where I'll keep all the seeds. And then this is also the egg and the berry bin. This is the main hall or not the main hall, but it's the hallway, the only hallway. It's lined with gold and iron armors. I might add maybe a chain armor set if I can get a full grasp on that one. This is the master bedroom. This is my room, so it has some storage. It's going to eventually have like some more decorations over there, but for now I haven't actually done anything with it. Then there's also the fireplace. I had to put that in retroactively later. This is also where I keep all of the valuables, such as the diamonds, iron, gold, etc. From there, off of the main hall, we have the storage room. The storage room is temporarily helping me smelt a bunch of stuff since I haven't actually made the blacksmith yet. The blacksmith will eventually go over there in that little section there, which is going to be pretty nice. I'm going to have to come up with a design for it, but overall this is where all of the stuff is stored into. Here's the mage quarters along with the mage tower. I have yet to actually build too much in here, but this is where I grow the nether wart. This is the infinite water source there, which is useful to the new saturated blocks. This is just an alchemy recipe book. It has all the stuff that you would need to know about alchemy. This is where the enchanting goes. It is maxed out, so it is pleasingly and tastefully made. This does max out to level 30, so if I were to put this here, it does go up to level 30, which is very nice. And then it has a variety of other aspects to it. You can see the stables from here, and you can kind of see the corner of the war building right there. But for the most part, this building is fully finished. There still needs to be some stuff up here. I'm probably going to put in a bed and some more storage, maybe a little desk and whatnot. Then there's the tower. We've already been into the tower to showcase the rest of it all. Here we'll jump down This is the little gateway. I still need to put some fences here, I think, but even so, has a nice, for now, nice little view of the windmill and whatnot. This is a buddy's of mine house that I built a while ago. For the most part, these houses are pretty bare bones in terms of what was actually initially put into them. It was basically just a crafting table, 3 furnaces, a double chest, and like a bed, plus a suit of armor if they really wanted it. But this is my friend's house. He has he's been mapping out the world for us. So we're right there in the middle there. And then he's gone roughly 3 to 4 or 5,000 blocks away in both directions to kind of get a gist of where we're at. That's another friend of mine's house. He's kind of been chilling around and whatnot. Here's the gate that leads from the first interior setting to the second. This is where the stables are going to be, along with a couple of the different training grounds. I am going to put some targets here and there. This is the entrance to the war building, or the primary one. I haven't decided what I want to do on this main floor here yet. Maybe put in some armor stands and whatnot. But then down here, once it's fully finished, it's going to have the map of the area. And the keep is going to be right here in the center. And it's going to be pretty close to what the directional orientations are. So like, that direction is north, east, south, west. And so it's oriented that way so that you can look at it from here and get an idea of where you're looking, which is going to be pretty helpful. And then if we go all the way up here, it also has storage for different items such as armors, melee weapons such as axes or swords, and then like bows as well as crossbows, and then ammunition. Since we have a skeleton farm, we are getting quite a few arrows. It also has spaces for enchanted weapons, armors, and crossbows or bows. Moving this direction, we have the farm initially from any of the videos that you may have watched, and especially the one where we build. To showcase first, we do have a section for the subscriber wall. So this is for the stream. If you are a subscriber in the stream, you get your name somewhere up on this sign, and then as we get more, I'll be building more subscriber walls throughout the township so that it kind of makes it look like a messenger board, which is going to be kind of neat. Here's the windmill. The windmill's not super fleshed out just yet, considering that it's been mostly recently built and I haven't had any need for any storage just yet. A lot of the windows aren't even finished here. But this is where all of the seed and vegetables are going to go once we overflow from outside of the town, or rather from outside of the castle. And this is just an absolutely gorgeous view of the castle grounds and the farm below it. There's just all kinds of stuff over here, and it makes it look really cool from this particular vantage point, I think. Let's actually take a picture. Actually, where's the picture button? Is it F4? F2? I don't know what the button is. There it is, F2. All right. From here, we have added quite a few different apiaries, a few different beehives and whatnot around. I've made sure to intersperse them around the entire farm so that it goes over all of the crops. Here is the pen that holds the chickens and the cows. There's quite a few of either one in there, which is going pretty well. That supplies us with quite a few eggs, as well as quite a bit of beef and leather. This portion is not quite finished yet. I'm going to eventually actually craft a much better entrance into this area, but for now I'm not quite done with it yet. Sometimes monsters do spawn in these hallways, so you gotta kind of be wary. Oh look, an Enderman was in here. But this is the spawner. This is the skeleton spawner from where we actually get all of our experience and bows, bones, arrows, etc. This is where we get all of it from. I wanted to make this look like very similar to the one in my other YouTube, or not YouTube, but my other single-player world that I have showcased on my live stream at some point. But this is a very similar design in terms of the exterior, and then I've made it a little bit darker around the edges. That way we can potentially get more spawns on the interior of there. It's not quite done because of the floor, but for the most part the walls are pretty done. As we go down, we're going into what will eventually become the ossuary, which is where you store bones, which is appropriate since it's a skeleton spawner. And so we're not quite done, but the idea behind it will be that it's going to kind of be an altar. And so you'll have this area in the very beginning. This is going to be the ground floor at the bottom once I'm finished with it all. Oh, my inventory's full of dirt. That's fine. I don't need any of that. But eventually this is going to be a little observatory room, very similar to the one upstairs for the spawner, and is going to look down onto what would eventually be a room filled with just kind of ominous tones. Like there's going to be a staircase here at the very end that you'll have to walk all the way around to. I kind of want to put another staircase over there, but it's probably just going to be right here. It's going to go down, and then you'll be able to see that the floor is going to be made of bone and potentially basalt and all this other stuff. It's going to be really cool. I'm envisioning something in my head that may be a little bit more grand, and it's kind of impossible to explain. But what's cool is that there was an abandoned mine shaft down here that I didn't know about until I started to excavate. So not only is the skeleton spawner right outside of my castle, but so is a abandoned mine, which is really cool. But that's been MTV's crib showcase for Gunner113's Minecraft castle. If you guys have any other suggestions or ideas on what you would like to see me build, then definitely let me know, and we'll see if we can't make that happen. For now, I'm going to be working on extending the farm to allow for a sheep or pig pen, as well as more room for wheat and beetroot and everything else that I'll need eventually. But I hope you guys have an enjoyable evening, and I will see you guys next time.